Ahead on Q2, a concerning cut pertaining to a nationwide crisis.
Shock, heartbreaking. I was actually very stunned.
Budget cuts lead to Billings schools eliminating a mental health program with school quickly approaching. And an uncertain future for a community staple.
This size of a business, we don't see this.
Rimrock Mall reaches nearly $600,000 in debt, now open to the highest bidder. The MTN 430 News on Q2 starts right now. Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us on this August 29th. I'm Charlie Klepps. 26%, that's the shocking number of Montana students who say they have seriously considered suicide. That's according to the 2023 Montana Youth Risk Behavior Survey, which was released last fall. It's an ongoing crisis with many parents and teachers focused on solving the issue. But now recent funding cuts have many on edge, as a longtime service here in Billings will be no more.
You do this right here, you do this.
Michaela Sanderson's 10-year-old son, Kenton, needs a lot of attention.
He is a trauma-based kid, and so he just needs a lot of help.
And typically he gets that help here at the Yellowstone Boys and Girls Ranch, who have provided mental health services both inside and outside of the classroom for years.
They also have like occupational stuff, so they actually come to our house too.
It's part of the Comprehensive School and Community Services Program, which has long been offered in the hallways of Billings Public Schools.
That's his therapy. Those are his favorite people on the planet.
But now, due to cuts, that option won't be available. Something Kenton's mother, Michaela, says is a nightmare.
I was really angry because I just can't believe the fact that my son has built a relationship with these people for years, and those are some of like his safest people that he can talk to, and now they're just going to be gone. Superintendent
Erwin Garcia explained that the budget was finalized for the year on Monday. When the cuts were announced, it was too late. Garcia also specified that the cuts will take effect at Orchard Elementary, Medicine Crow, and Castle Rock.
If kids aren't getting their mental health taken care of, then they're not going to care about school. They're not going to care about anything at that point.
Sanderson's concerns will also be felt by teachers.
There is so much being placed at the feet of educators right now.
Billings Education Association President Lance Edwards says the number one struggle teachers are having these days is assisting students with their mental health.
Well, the mental health aspect of teaching right now is very real for our students. That society demands and is being placed in squarely in education circles right now. And that's a difficult thing for teachers to fix.
Superintendent Garcia says they're committed to finding families other options.
I don't know what these kids are going to do or how they're going to manage school this year without them.
But Sanderson is worried, knowing how hard that void will be to replace with school quickly approaching.
I just hope that they can uphold everything that YBGR has.
In Billings, Charlie Klepps, MTN News. The Yellowstone Boys and Girls Ranch did acknowledge the changes, saying that these decisions are not made lightly and adding that they'll continue to partner with the district in providing substance use prevention and counseling services directly in the school. We're also continuing to monitor a school bus crash that happened yesterday on Shiloh Road involving 4 Billings students, 3 of whom school officials say were injured. You can see the damage here as amazingly it stayed upright after hitting a guardrail and eventually ending up nearly 40 feet off of the road in a ditch. Billings schools use First Student Inc. to run the district buses. They responded to our questions about this accident, saying the driver is on administrative leave while they do an internal review, and they're working closely with Montana State Troopers who are investigating. We'll continue to update you with information as we learn it both online and on air. And the eyes and hearts of the country are still very much with Minnesota following the tragic shooting at Annunciation Catholic School in Minneapolis. Today we're beginning to learn more about the victims. Mara Barrett reports.
We're now more than 2 days since the Minneapolis church and school shooting that occurred here in the church just behind me. Stained glass windows continue to be boarded up after they were shattered due to gunfire. We are learning more about the angels, the church said, the 8-year-old and the 10-year-old that were killed as a result of this shooting. We're hearing from their families, from their parents, of 8-year-old Fletcher Merkel and 10-year-old Harper Moise. Moisky. We heard from Fletcher's father, Jesse Merkel, who described that this is going to be the only time he makes a statement about his son, but that he wants him to be known not by the act in which he was killed, but how he lived.
A coward decided to take our 8-year-old son Fletcher away from us. Because of their actions, we will never be allowed to hold him, talk to him, play with him, and watch him grow into the wonderful young man he was on the path to becoming. Fletcher loved his family, friends, fishing, cooking, and any sport that he was allowed to play. While the hole in our hearts and lives will never be filled, I hope that in time our family can find healing.
We also received a statement from Heather Moisky's, the 10-year-old girl's family. They called her a bright light and said that they are heartbroken as they grieve as a family. But they said that no family should ever have to endure this kind of pain. And so they said change is possible and it's necessary so that Harper's story does not become yet another in a long line of tragedies. We have learned from the doctors at the various hospitals that the injured victims are at. There are 15 children who are injured and 3 elderly patients, that everyone is expected to make a full recovery, though we know that one 12-year-old girl is still in critical condition, though doctors are optimistic about that. We're also learning new details about the investigation, officials confirming Thursday that the shooter did in fact act alone and the threat died with the shooter, they said. They also said the shooter had a deranged fascination with previous mass shootings and that a person who could have done this only has a heart full of hate. It's spurred, as we get more details, it's spurred local officials like Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey to call for a federal and statewide ban on assault weapons as well as high-capacity magazines. The community is expressing concern yet again as we cover multiple mass shootings so frequently. The same kind of sentiment around gun reform as well as exploring how we can better track mental health or any other indications of how this could happen. We continue to track the investigation, and the school said that they will give an update on when the kids can return to school over the weekend. Maura Barrett, Scripps News Group, Minneapolis.
Well, the monsoon moisture is still in place over Montana and Wyoming. Scattered showers and thunderstorms already occurring. Plenty over Rosebud County and Treasure County, but we also have some thunderstorms moving through the Yellowstone County area. Rygate, between Rygate and Roundup, a couple thunderstorms, but also 2 storms, one just north of Billings and one near Laurel to the northeast of town, pushing over I-90 right now. So we have some gusty wind coming out of that. Cooler air, some areas of rain, obviously, a few lightning strikes as well, but it's still more active than that as we head over Treasure County, parts of Bighorn County and Rosebud County, between Custer and Forsyth, all the way down toward Colstrip and Lame Deer, and additional showers and isolated thunderstorms pushing over Sheridan County in northern Wyoming. So some active weather for us. But what about the all-important Labor Day weekend? I'll have your forecast for that coming up.
The deadline is today for the owners of Rimrock Mall to pay off nearly $600,000 in property taxes, following the news that they were in debt earlier this week. Today, Yellowstone County Treasurer Hank Peters confirmed with MTN that mall owners are not ready to pay right now. So as of today, they are now vulnerable to a third party stepping in and purchasing the debt. If those taxes continue to go unpaid for 3 years, the county can seize the property and sell it off to the highest bidder.
We get to 2028 and no one has purchased the lien, then the county commissioners can direct me to take a tax deed.
Peters added that the size of the mall and the scope of the business makes this a rare situation for his office. In Washington, President Trump revoked Kamala Harris's Secret Service protection. The former vice president's protection was extended for an additional year by then President Joe Biden. Congressional correspondent Nate Reed reports.
In an apparent escalation of his attacks on current and former political adversaries, President Donald Trump has canceled the Secret Service security detail for former Vice President Kamala Harris. A senior White House official confirming the news to the Scripps News Group Friday morning. A senior advisor to the former vice president saying in a statement, quote, "The vice president is grateful to the United States Secret Service for their professionalism, dedication, and unwavering commitment to safety," close quote. but not immediately criticizing President Trump's decision. While former presidents receive lifetime Secret Service protection, vice presidents typically only receive it for a period of 6 months after leaving the White House. But, though unreported before Friday, former President Joe Biden had extended Harris's protection before the pair left office. The change especially notable as Harris had served as Democrats' 2024 nominee for president and is set to head out on a nationwide book tour for her memoir about her 107-day run for the presidency after Joe Biden announced last summer he would no longer seek re-election. This is not the first time President Trump has canceled the security detail for a political adversary. The president moving earlier this year to cancel security for a slew of former government officials, including former Secretary of Homeland Security Alejandro Mayorkas, former chief medical advisor to President Biden Anthony Fauci, former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff Mark Milley, former National Security Advisor John Bolton, and former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, along with President Joe Biden's adult children, among others. National Democrats speaking out on the record, calling the move shameful. Nathaniel Reed, Scripps News Group, Washington.